Good afternoon, and thank you for your interest in my practicum work for the USAID ECCN support team from the EDC. My name is Eric Chavez, and I'm completing my 5th and last semester here at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies, earning an MPA degree in Policy and Program Evaluation and Research, as well as an MA degree in International Education Management. Due to the DPP program chair, Dr. Beryl Levinger's extensive professional network in my field of interest, I was fortunate enough to connect with Ms. Cornelia Janke, an accomplished Miss Alumna herself, who now directs the ECCN. Luckily, she saw through my poor interviewing skills and generously offered me a part-time, paid, remote position, supporting her team in an administrative capacity, as well as a part-time unpaid internship in more technical areas of interest to me personally. These 3 technical areas included Information and Communication Technology for EICC, Equity in EICC, and Building Capacity among the Community of Practice. Now the first 2 make sense, right? But what is the third one? What is a community of practice? Well, based on my own experience working with the ECCN over the past semester, I've come to understand the term to mean a group of organizations and/or individuals who share a common objective in their work. In the case of the ECCN, the objective is to increase equitable access to and improve the quality of education in crisis and conflict-affected environments. This definition might then lead you to wonder how a network of like-minded organizations might possibly benefit from each other's work. Well, just over the past 3 months, I've witnessed 2 incredible benefits. Through informal connections that participants build in their community of practice and in the process of sharing their expertise, learning from others, and participating in the group, members acquire the first benefit of social capital, especially those members with experience. Communities of practice have inherently become associated with the second benefit, the finding, sharing, transferring, and archiving of knowledge, or knowledge management. Aside from the traditionally invoked notions of databases, documents, query languages, and data mining, knowledge management also includes the creation of explicit expertise or tacit knowledge, which is much more commonly referred to as best practices. To demonstrate to you one way in which I've been contributing to this third technical area, I'd like to share with you my work on the USAID ECCN project database. The interactive database has 2 purposes. The first is to provide the community of practice and broader audience with easy-to-find information on current and past USAID-funded projects in this particular field of work. Secondly, to provide a repository of indicators, tools, and resources to support M&E efforts for education programs. To address these aims, the database is subsequently divided into 2 sections. The first is the USAID ECCN project database, which provides pertinent information about EICC projects, including their audience, strategies, and results frameworks. The second is the M&E resources and tools database, which is coming soon and will eventually allow users to search and find recommended indicators, tools, and other types of resources used throughout the field. Since the ECCN support team is just starting out on this database, all of our work this semester has concentrated on the first section mentioned. On this section, I worked under the direction and guidance of Dr. Shai Fuchsman, a senior research scientist at the EDC with expertise in program evaluation and youth development. Together, we reviewed a total of 27 USAID-funded project monitoring and evaluation plans for all types of education programs around the globe, all from various implementing partners. They also varied in quality, length, and detail, which made this process long and sometimes tedious. The purpose of these reviews, though, was to focus on their results framework and extract important data points from project budgets and targets to indicators and their frequencies of measurements. This was all saved into an Excel spreadsheet that I kept updated for us in real time on Google Drive. After completing the first 10 reports, the data from the spreadsheet was then inputted into the online database's alpha version by its web developing contractors for USAID to review and for usability tests to be conducted. Once this round is completed, the web developers will then know what features to make changes to and what additional features to include into a beta version that should be ready by this year's end. The next step for me, though, in this process is now to transfer that data from the remaining 17 reports into a back-end portal that the EDC's web developers created for the site's administrators. Once this last assignment is completed for this particular project, sadly as will my time with the EDC, the ECCN will then only need to update the database as new reports come in and/or corrections need to be made to existing ones. Eventually, this database will prove incredibly useful to implementing partners of future EICC programs by giving them access to evaluations that can define best practices in their niche field. The community of practice will then be able to learn from each other's successes and failures alike to produce projects of higher quality and greater impacts. Once completed, this project will be one of the most impactful I've ever had the privilege of being a part of, as it has a strong potential to affect positive and lasting change for beneficiaries. In fact, I'm planning to feature it in my e-portfolio as one of my top work samples because it proves the perfect example of how I've met all 5 of our graduate program's learning objectives. It's a piece of work that demonstrates foundational knowledge in the field of international education by articulating a trend in data management to streamline inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes, as well as indicators in both an easily accessible and legible platform. It effectively condenses detailed program and/or project assessments into a more easily digestible format, saving the valuable time of the community of practice. It also contributes to effective program and/or project administration through data management. As a tool, it will engage the community of practice and other stakeholders, and finally, it will be accessible and useful to project managers and directors across the globe in any context of crisis and/or conflict. With that, it is now my pleasure to introduce to you the alpha version of the database and a short demonstration of its features. Although this interface will eventually exist publicly as an independent site on the EDC server, only a handful of people have actually seen it. So it's quite exciting for me to be able to give you guys a sneak peek at its progress. What you see on your screen now is the home page of the ECCN's main site. There will eventually be a new tab added to the menu at the top, which will direct traffic from the main site to the database site. Administrators may also decide to include additional hyperlinks on the resources landing page, as well as the members-only section, as they want to make sure that the two sites connect as seamlessly as possible in both function and style, despite being completely independent of one another. Once linked to the database's site, you'll find a menu of 4 tabs. It's being discussed whether we can combine the home page, which will show you an interactive map of the countries these projects come from, as well as a listing of them by region, with the About page, which explains who the ECCN is and the database's purpose. Next, you'll find the Contact tab, which we are considering making the last tab in the menu, as it will be the primary way for implementing partners to request changes to any information shared in the database that they find either incorrect or missing. The interactive online database itself will be found in the View All Projects tab. As you can see, there are currently only 3 disaggregating fields to search with: the country the project was implemented in, its focus, and the years it was active. We are currently entertaining the idea to also possibly include disaggregating by budget, implementing partner, age range, and type of indicator, whether output or outcome. It's also being discussed whether or not we should allow visitors to choose a range of active years instead of only being able to select one at a time. Once a visitor selects a project to read more about, she or he will find 4 additional tabs in a submenu underneath the project's title. The first tab gives you general information on the project, like a short description, an identification of beneficiaries, implementing partners, and project locations, as well as links to supporting information. The second offers a visual breakdown of the project's results framework, with a listing of the project's goal, its strategic objectives, its intermediate results, as well as any sub-intermediate results. We are currently also discussing adding indicators to their corresponding intermediate results in order to give visitors who are more visual learners a more digestible means of data consumption. The Indicators tab will specify each indicator with detailed definitions. It will identify its type and will list frequencies of measurements, targets, disaggregated components, and the intermediate result each indicator corresponds to. The last of these 4 tabs is a space where supporting documents can be found on the project chosen. One thing we do need to resolve that has been identified by usability testing is the fact that there is no option yet to go back to your search results after selecting a particular project for more details. We will also be brainstorming more ways to reconnect visitors to the main site to ensure seamlessness between the two. Lastly, and in the interest of time, it's my pleasure to show you the back-end site that only administrators will have access to. You'll notice all of the same fields from the front end are included. When choosing to edit data from an existing project, all of these fields will be filled with the data that has already been submitted, making it significantly easier to just make the necessary edits and hit save. Well, it's my sincerest hope that this presentation proved both insightful in the benefits of creating communities of practice, as well as inspired you to think about ways in which you might be able to leverage a community of practice to enhance your own work in whatever international education niche you find yourself in. Thank you.